On August 4th, 2020, an event shook the world. Literally, a massive explosion at the port of Beirut, Lebanon, sent a shockwave across the city and a tidal wave of grief across the globe. We're going to dive into what happened, because this wasn't just an accident. It was a tragedy born from years of failure.
So let's go back to that afternoon. For the people of Beirut, it was just a normal day. Until it wasn't. In a flash, the very fabric of their city was torn apart.
You've probably seen the videos. I mean, they were everywhere. That apocalyptic mushroom cloud, the supersonic blast wave. It looks like a nuclear bomb had gone off. And everyone was asking the same terrifying question. What could possibly do that?
The human toll was just immediate and staggering. In an instant, more than 200 people lost their lives. Mothers, fathers, sons, daughters, gone.
And it didn't end there, not by a long shot. More than 6,000 people were injured. Imagine the city's hospitals, already under strain, suddenly flooded with thousands of wounded. It was absolute chaos.
And then there's this number, which is just hard to wrap your head around. In that single violent moment, the blast left over 300,000 people without a home. That's a tenth of the entire city's population. Their lives just shattered.
So, what was it? What was the source of all this destruction? Well, it wasn't a bomb, not in the way you might think. It was more like a chemical time bomb that had been ticking away right out in the open for years.
The culprit was ammonium nitrate. Now, this stuff is tricky. It's a chemical that's used all the time in farming as a fertilizer. But get it under the wrong conditions, and it becomes a horrifically powerful explosive.
And we're not talking about a couple of forgotten bags here. No, we are talking about an almost unbelievable 2,750 tons of this material, just sitting in a warehouse right on the city's waterfront. To really put that into perspective for you, scientists estimated that the energy released was about 10 to 15% of the Hiroshima atomic bomb. That is the kind of catastrophic power that was just waiting to go off.
Okay, so this raises the biggest, most infuriating question of all. How in the world does this happen? The tragic truth is, this wasn't a surprise. This disaster was completely preventable, and the warnings go back years.
Take a look at this timeline. For 6 long years, from 2014 all the way to 2020, this massive stockpile of explosive material just sat there. And we know for a fact that official after official was warned about how dangerous it was. Yet nothing was done until a fire broke out and lit the fuse.
In the confusion right after the blast, you heard all kinds of speculation. Was it a terrorist attack? But the investigations made one thing painfully clear. Nope, the real cause was something far more insidious. It was a toxic culture of severe negligence and deep-seated corruption.
And that's the thing. This wasn't some big secret. The danger was a known fact. For years, government officials and the port authorities were fully aware of the ticking time bomb sitting in the heart of their city, and they just let it tick.
The explosion itself was over in a matter of seconds, but its consequences, they've created ripples that are still devastating every single part of Lebanese society. You see, this blast couldn't have happened at a worse time. It took an already brutal economic crisis and pushed it into a total freefall, destabilizing the entire country. This, of course, led to massive public outrage, huge protests demanding answers, and eventually, the government even resigned.
And that demand for answers, for accountability, that brings us to the final and maybe the most painful part of this story, the quest for justice.
It's the question that every single victim, every single person in Beirut has been asking ever since. After all this preventable devastation, who has actually been held responsible?
The answer, years later, is just as heartbreaking as the event itself. Basically, no one. Despite all the evidence of negligence, despite the public screaming for justice, the path to accountability has been blocked again and again. To this day, not one single senior official has been truly held to account, leaving a wound in the heart of Beirut that still has no chance to heal.